very good evening and thank you for joining us for our TV News. Of course, my name is William Evans and I'm with
Liv Nete.
Let's have a look at the headlines.
Rwanda's strategic location and mineral abundance are part of the reasons that attract USA's investors in Rwanda's mineral sector. The Chief of the General Staff of the Central African Republic Armed Forces has commended the military cooperation between the Central African Republic and Rwanda as a model of African solidarity and collaboration. The U.S. envoy Adam Bola says he is optimistic about imminent breakthrough in Gaza hostage crisis.
And of course, many thanks for joining us. Let's begin our news with the first story. And the story is from investors in Rwanda's mineral sector, acknowledging that the country's strategic location and mineral abundance were key factors attracting them. Meanwhile, regional political experts find that certain countries imposing sanctions on Rwanda under accusation of illegally mining of Congolese minerals is an attempt to divert the attention from the real cause of the insecurity in DRC. We have a report by Adam Squizera.
For more than 30 years, the DRC government has ignored the concerns of its mainly Kinyarwanda-speaking population in the eastern part of the country. Tit Gatabazi explains that shifting the narrative from the real issues which led the M23 to take up arms to an accusation of illegal mining of Congolese minerals is a deliberate attempt to mislead the international community and divert attention from the weakness of the DRC's leadership. Some people claim their rights as Congolese, but it is often twisted to justify their pursuit of minerals, which is irrelevant. In reality, 7% of these minerals are controlled by China, while 30% are in the hands of some European companies. According to the Africa Intelligence News outlet, in Katanga, the governor is said to be a close ally of the Tshisekedi family. He is reportedly representing the interests of the Tshisekedi family and Ramaphosa's, as they are the main players extracting minerals in that region. Alois Mutabingwa emphasizes that some in the international community and certain countries continue to deliberately ignore the truth about what is happening in the Eastern DRC. He finds that this is done to protect the economic interests, which are deeply tied to the mineral-rich region.
There has been illegal trading around there, no question about it, including some foreign actors preoccupied with illegal trading than anything else. And that causes insecurity. Actually, it escalates the causes of insecurity around these areas, especially these that are known to be rich in natural resources. Surprisingly, those who've been in those acts are those who are constitutionally responsible for guaranteeing security to people.
Ray Parr, who owns the first cotton processing plant in Rwanda and on the African continent, is among those who disagree with the claims that Rwanda lacks mineral resources.
Oh, sure, look, we've stood on it. I mean, it is fundamental. There are a lot of non-geologists who have opinions, but it is here. We've invested a huge amount of money to build a full industrial scale mine with exploration data, with drilling data. We've proven the resources. But in reality, you can look through the historical archives. Rwanda was a substantial contributor to the tin mining back in the 1940s and 50s. And let's face it, the geology does not have passports. Rocks don't get to a political border and say, okay, we stop here. Yeah? This whole belt is the whole region. It even crosses into Burundi and up in Uganda. It's the whole region. So you cannot say, just because there's a political border invented in the last 125 years, all of a sudden rocks that have been here for multi-millions of years have changed location. It's not viable. And so you can see here, we have a very solid investment. You don't see thousands of people, but that's because that's a very unsafe way to mine. The more miners you have crawling in tunnels, the more people that die. And we all know artisanal mining has got a reasonably poor reputation for all the human rights abuses that have taken place over the last 40 years.
In a recent interview with Marion Alfal, one of the most popular journalists on social media platforms such as YouTube and X, formerly Twitter. President Paul Kagame family stated that Rwanda has nothing to do with the minerals it is accused of extracting from the DRC.
If you looked at the list of 100 entities, 100 from wherever, China, Europe, US, Canada, and so on, including all of us in the region, who are interested in the minerals in the Congo, Rwanda would come as 100th, would come at the bottom. If you ranked them 1, 2, 3, but the situation is such that it has been made to look like the ones least concerned with the minerals have been the ones accused for the entire problem of these 100 who get billions and billions and leave nothing behind. So Rwanda has come to be the ones to absorb it. So that is
to absorb all the blame.
All the blame. Because those that whole line up to the 99s are the people who have the power of the media, of everything. And for them, they're also benefiting from the bad politics of Congo. And most of these people probably have a share in the companies formed together with Tshisekedi.
President Felix.
Yes.
Here, the head of state told this journalist that Rwanda's main concern is its security.
Our problem is not minerals. It has nothing to do with minerals. Ours is about security. And once we are not assured of our security and long term, we can't be thinking about minerals in that situation. No, that would be the last thing on our minds.
Rwanda's security concerns have led it to adopt defensive measures that have prompted some countries to impose sanctions. Rwanda finds this as not the best way to address the security crisis in the region, which is largely based on the activities of the FDLR, a genocidal militia group. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the details. Now, moving ahead, the Chief of General Staff of the Central African Republic Armed Forces, General Zephyrin Mamadou, commended the military cooperation between the Central African Republic and Rwanda as a model of African solidarity and collaboration. He shared these remarks during a visit to Rwandan troops stationed in Pimbo, near Bangui, alongside the Rwanda Defense Force Army Chief of Staff, Major General Vincent Nyakarundi. We have details.
The relationship between Central African Republic forces and the Rwanda Defense Forces has evolved beyond mere cooperation into a brotherly friendship, allowing them to join together and share experiences like true siblings. The Chief of General Staff of the Central African Republic Armed Forces, Major General Mahmoud, stated that this partnership has greatly benefited his country's troops and is a clear sign that Africans can achieve a lot more when they work in unity.
Je vous jette des fleurs. Je vous dis merci. Merci pour les bienfaits.
We honor the people who have been our trainers. I thank you for the good work you do. The proof is that we no longer have to look to the West. In the past, we would request for training opportunities only to wait for long or even be disregarded. But now, we have found a more suitable way to collaborate, and we are grateful. In this collaboration, nothing is lacking in Africa. We have been lagging behind a bit, but working together, we are pressing towards the goal and have faith in our ability. There's still more to do, so we will continue such partnerships. It is deserving that we work collaboratively always. Major General Vincent Nyakarundi, the current Army Chief of Staff of Rwanda Defense Forces, emphasized that the troops of both countries are committed to the vision laid out by the leadership of Rwanda and the Central African Republic.
Nos deux chefs d'État nous ont montré que 1 plus 1 n'est pas égal à 2, mais c'est égal à 1.
Our leaders have shown us that uniting is not just about 1 + 1, it is about being one. They've shown us that African cooperation helps us to keep our eye on our own goals rather than bending down for that small trophy others might offer. We will therefore continue the path laid out by our two presidents, and if we have some things pending, now is the time to focus on achieving them. Rwandan troop stations in Bimbo, just outside Bangui, have been in Central African Republic since 2000, following agreements between the two countries, and they've joined those on a peacekeeping mission under the United Nations MINUSCA since 2014.
Now, moving ahead to other matters, the Minister of Sports, Nelly Mukazaire, pointed out that since March is dedicated to women, various sports activities have been planned specifically for them. This Sunday's mass sports event included women from various categories among the participants. We have more on this.
Among those who participated in today's Car-Free Day were women and girls who studied science and technology in colleges and universities. They believe that such exercises help them to think clearly and innovate.
We are here for sports because we think that sports give us refreshment. And when you do sports, you can think, you can do anything. As you see the young girls here, they have a fresh mind, they have innovation projects, and after this activity of sports, we are going to do some showcasing of the project so that they can also be motivated, because without sports, you can't even do anything. So we are energized because of the sport, and we are like calling for everyone to do sports, because at least 30 minutes a day.
So the purpose of being here today is doing sports. First of all, we are here to do some sports, and then after this, as my fellow just said, we are going to showcase some of our projects. I think that the reason we started with sports is to get like a fresh mind, as all of them said. We want to get a fresh mind, think before, and then after that, as women who do sciences, we are going to showcase what we can do as women to, like the motto says, we have to remove that gap, gender gap in science.
I'm here to join the others to do sports because it's a very nice thing. We exercise, we do different activities which help us to gain energy to support us to do in everyday life. So we are in a boot camp called Impact Innovation, where we do certain projects to solve people's problems and find solutions to them. And after this activity, we'll go to showcase them.
Meanwhile, just later further away, there are those who are voluntarily getting tested for non-communicable diseases to find out their health status. I came here for sports, but I discovered they also offer health testing. I decided to get tested to know my health status. When tested, we also receive advice based on the results. I came for sports and then decided to get tested for NCDs because it is crucial for me to know my health status and follow advice early on. I regularly do this whenever I come here. Minister of Sports, Nelly Mukazaire, pointed out that since March is dedicated to women, various sports activities have been planned specifically for them.
This year's theme says, "Women are of value," and indeed, we are valuable. We are grateful for the opportunity to collaborate on this throughout the month. There will be various activities that showcase the role of women in development and in sports. Sports is not just about competition, but also about promoting good health. For instance, today we demonstrated cycling in anticipation of the UCI Championship in September. We will also have other sports activities including basketball, volleyball, rugby and football.
Research conducted by Professor Ejid Karisa, a professor at the University of Western Ontario in Canada, shows that just one Car-Free Day helps reduce air pollution by 15% in Kigali. These mass sports also prevents non-communicable diseases, which can save 3,300 extra working hours. Thus, this study shows that by the end of 2025, the country will gain $21 million due to the car-free days that have been implemented starting in 2021.
Thank you, Adams, for that report. Now let's move on to the southern province, where residents in Muhanga say that the private sector should take a broader perspective and invest in hotels that align with the city's rapid growth and development. This comes as the Southern Province Administration reaffirms the government's commitment to expanding opportunities that enhance the profitability of the hospitality sector. As a satellite city of Kigali, Muhanga is witnessing significant progress in construction and infrastructure. However, residents note that there is a shortage of hotels despite the increasing demand driven by events such as international conferences now being hosted in the city. Some residents point out that while hotel development is essential, the high cost associated with construction makes it challenging to establish a large-scale facility. As a result, many turn to small and medium-sized hospitality businesses that offer accommodation services to meet the growing demand.
The Catholic Diocese of Kabgayi is among the key investors showing interest in enhancing the hospitality sector in Muhanga. Bishop Baltazar Nhivuguruzwa stated that their development plans include contributing to the expansion of Muhanga town, where they have established significant initiatives. Southern Province Governor Kaitesi Alice emphasized that the government is actively creating opportunities for the private sector to invest in modern hotel infrastructure. She highlighted the recently approved provincial tourism map as one of the strategic tools aimed at boosting the region's hospitality and tourism industry. The development of modern hotels would significantly enhance the two cities' supporting Kigali in the southern province, providing increased employment opportunities, particularly for young people. The southern province currently has only 2 4-star hotels, both located in Huye district. Muhanga, which had 2 3-star hotels as of 2018, has recently added a third, which was awarded 3 stars by the Rwanda Development Board after 7 years. To more news, farmers from the eastern province are now adopting the use of solar power to increase production. Those who have embraced this approach say it is a sustainable solution that helps them cope with dry weather conditions that affect their agricultural produce. We have more on this.
Saba Cecile is a farmer in Bugesera district in Kamawiya sector with 15 hectares of land she uses for growing passion fruits and mangoes. Because of the intense dry season, her planted crops struggle to thrive. She is preparing to receive support to be able to irrigate her over 9 hectares of land using solar energy. This is where she anticipates finding a solution to the problem of harsh dry seasons.
Amazi bagiye kutuzamurira tuzashyiramo imiyoboro y'amatiyo bazamure.
We are going to be supported to pump water up the hill by solar panels at the water body down the hill. Pipelines have been dug and there are water storage tanks too in place. After all this, I expect great results because access to water for irrigation is now going to be easy, unlike before when we used traditional methods to water our crops.
On the other hand, Gwibasira Alex, a 28-year-old farmer in the Mngurire sector in Rwamagana district, uses solar energy for irrigation. Alex cultivates an area of 13 hectares, dedicating part of it to avocado and the other to beans. Prior to receiving irrigation support, he had issues with crop failure due to harsh weather. My recent harvest was French beans, where I harvested over 50 tons from 4 hectares of land. This was because we never had water issues and we had a ready market for our harvest. For avocados, my first harvest was over 100 kilograms, and by end of last year, August, we had harvested over 5 tons. An irrigation engineer at RAB SPAU project highlights the changes solar-powered irrigation has brought about in the agriculture sector. After encouraging irrigation, our markets have produce and we still have vegetables and fruits, even in the dry spell conditions, and they are at affordable prices. The importance of solar energy irrigation is also highlighted by the mayor of Rwamagana, Mbonyomuvunyi Rajab. He mentions that even though the region experiences high levels of sunshine, those who use irrigation method are not very much affected. The first impact is seen in increased harvest. We have expanded irrigation capacity and cultivated land to now over 285 hectares of land, which was not the case before because our area receives less rain. The SAIP project, which aims to increase agricultural produce, create market opportunities, and enhance food security, operates under Rwanda Agriculture Board. It supports irrigation methods utilizing solar energy, and farmers are classified in two categories. Those with land ranging from 0.5 to 4.5 hectares receive a subsidy of up to 50%, while those with land from 5 to 10 hectares receive a 75% subsidy for the materials needed for solar-powered irrigation. Amazing initiative there for farmers. Now, moving on to some women who previously ran small businesses, including street vending, say that a support program providing capital has helped them grow and gain the confidence to approach financial institutions. These say that they began with capital of 20,000. Through the program support, someone received an additional capital, which enabled her to expand significantly. She now sells her produce at the Miduha market in Nyarugenge.
In Kigali, city markets have been established to accommodate former street vendors who were also provided with capital and granted a 3-year tax exemption. Today, some have progressed to the point of independently paying rent for their shops and meeting their tax obligations. Additionally, 200 women from Mageragere sector and Nyarugenge district each received a startup capital of 300,000 Rwandan francs to support income-generating projects, primarily in business. They expressed their commitment to making the most of this opportunity for their development. The Nyarugenge district administration has encouraged women to transition from street vending to operating in designated markets or authorized selling locations. Belancile Nyirajambere, the chairperson of the National Women's Council, emphasized that before receiving capital, the women undergo a training to equip them with the skills needed to successfully manage their businesses.
And the FXB Rwanda organization has partnered with the Nyarugenge district to raise 96 million Rwandan francs to help promote women's development.
Koko hari umuntu ugihagarara ku nyama muri iki gihe koko uretse nitaba umukiriya we kiriya biteze
ariko tayi aho gusoreza imyenda wibereye kuri telefone kweli
ariko ni kuwa mbere nawe wagwa wamo uracyari wose icyo nakubwiraga wa muntu niko ye umuntu w'umugabo ubukwe bwe akambara kositimu itukura iciye n'amaboko noneho none se uyisuza
si wombwiye ngo ngwe muse
ntabwo ari ibi navugaga
kuwa mbere kanda akanyenyeri 345 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo. Wikwisondeka.
Thank you for sticking around. We are going to the international scene, and now in the U.S., a potential breakthrough in the Gaza hostage crisis could be imminent, with the U.S. envoy Adam Borah expressing optimism that a deal satisfying all parties involved may be reached in weeks. VAO with the details.
Thousands of protesters in Israel gathered outside the defense ministry in Tel Aviv this weekend. They demanded the Israeli government broker a hostage release deal with Hamas. In Washington last week, U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed his administration had, for the first time, held direct talks with Hamas, a departure from the long-standing U.S. policy not to negotiate with terrorists.
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about Israeli hostages. And We're not doing anything in terms of Hamas. We're not giving cash. In fact, I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing.
Sunday morning, supporters and relatives of hostages awoke in tents outside the Israel Defense Ministry. Their message was clear. No new conflicts with Hamas, just secure a hostage release deal.
There are dozens of people that came with us to say the government don't get inside Gaza again, stop this war and bring all the hostages back home.
In recent days, a Trump administration negotiator met with Hamas to discuss a hostage release deal, calling the meeting very helpful.
I think something could come together within weeks. I will say that I believe there is enough there to make a deal between what Hamas wants and what they've accepted, and what Israel wants and it's accepted. And I think I think there is a deal where they can get all of the prisoners out, not just the Americans.
In the meantime, for Palestinians in Gaza's Khan Yunis, shortages of basic needs continue. Israel imposed a total blockade on all goods entering the enclave, including food, fuel, and medicine, until Hamas frees the remaining 59 hostages still held in Gaza. People here say they wait for hours to get bread as there's no longer electricity or firewood for cooking. Israel says it plans to send a delegation to Qatar on Monday to advance negotiations with Egyptian and Qatari mediators. Arash Basadi, VOA News.
VOA story brings us to the end of our news, but before we leave, a reminder of the top story that made the edition. Investors in Rwanda's mineral sector acknowledge that the country's strategic location and mineral abundance were key factors in attracting them. The Chief of General Staff of the Central African Republic Armed Forces has commended the military cooperation between the Central African Republic and Rwanda as a model of African solidarity and collaboration. The U.S. envoy Adam Bola says he's optimistic about imminent breakthrough in Gaza hostage crisis, and he announced a deal could be positive and possible within weeks.
And of course, that brings us to the end of this edition. Just in case you had a bad week, try again tomorrow. My name is William Evans Mtawazi.
And mine, Olive Nete. We wish you a productive week ahead.